Good afternoon. I'd like to call this regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting to order. Or this special meeting of the Planning Commission to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Garcia,
Here.
let the record show that Commissioner Cruciat and Vice Chair Cure have an excused absence. Commissioner Pahana? Here. Chair Walker?
Here.
Thank you.
Announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website at www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going to the city's website and clicking on the meeting agendas link. Public comments. This is time for the public to address the Planning Commission on issues within the jurisdiction of the Commission that are not on the printed agenda. All comments are to be directed to the chair of the Commission and shall not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional and courteous decorum during their comments. There's a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out a name and address slip and give it to the Planning Commission Secretary. The Planning Commission is prohibited by Brown Act state law from taking action or discussing at length items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on specific agenda items will be deferred until the consideration of that item on the agenda. I'm going to open public comment. We received a lot of comment slips, but most of them had request to make public comment checked and then also wanted to speak on a specific agenda item. Does anybody that filled out this want to speak for public comment, not on something we're talking about today, and then give comment on an agenda item? Everybody just wants to speak about an agenda item? Okay. So, this is your opportunity. If you have something not on the agenda today you would like to talk about, please come forward. Nobody? Okay, I'm going to close public comment. Commissioner comments and reports of meetings attended. Alex, we'll start with you.
I haven't attended any meetings since our last.
Leslie?
Hi, everyone. I was able to participate in some of the events for Pioneer Days. It was a really great time. I can't believe the turnout on a lot of things, and it was just overall a really thrilling time in our city. And I'm happy to be here on this special meeting today.
I, too, have not attended any meetings, but I did attend a lot of the Pioneer Day events. I had a really good time. The city staff and Park and Recs and everybody really did a good effort and put on a good weekend for the city, and it was really enjoyable, so I appreciate that. Consent calendar. We don't have a consent calendar. No items removed from the consent calendar. We don't have any public hearings today. Discussion of potential action items. None. Community Development Director updates. None. Moving on to our study session.
Right, and now we have the two members of the Housing and Homeless Committee can now come up and take their seats.
You can sit at the dais.
You can sit up there.
Your seating's been upgraded today. Nice to see you.
We did receive some correspondence, which I have passed out to everyone. And I'm going to hand it over to the city manager now.
Oh, and real quick, Keith, was that correspondence in regards to just the general concept of affordable housing and a certain developer wanted to build affordable housing?
That was one of the comments.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you so much. So you're ready to turn it over? Okay, well, thank you very much. So, Commission, appreciate the opportunity. The audience, thank you for joining us today. Here we are to we brought this meeting together to talk about a proposal from an organization called Molding Hearts. And the purpose of this proposal is to, should you recommend this for approval to City Council, the intent would be to have a one-time payment to Molding Hearts and have them really kind of in effect partner with the city to help us address the homelessness crisis. And so Ms. Lakita Johnson, she is the CEO of Molding Hearts. She is here today to go over her organization, her background, and what she is proposing to do for the city of 29 Palms. Ms. Lakita will also talk about what she has done and what she is currently doing in some of the other communities. And we'll hopefully get into some of the details on specifically how she goes through and with the individuals who are ready to accept help, how her systems help get those folks out of that downward spiral of homelessness. So with that, we'd like to call Ms. Lakita Johnson up to the podium.
Hello and good evening. Good evening, Chair. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. Okay. Hello, everyone that has attended as well. My name is Lakita Johnson, and I am the proud CEO of moldinghearts.org. We are a nonprofit agency located right here with our headquarters in Yucca Valley. I'm going to open up with our mission statement. Our mission is to end homelessness in San Bernardino County by providing compassionate and comprehensive housing solutions for vulnerable individuals. We offer emergency, transitional, and shared permanent housing for youth exiting foster care, formerly incarcerated individuals, and those experiencing homelessness. Through a supportive and empowering environment, we strive to foster stability, self-sufficiency, and a sense of belonging, ensuring everyone can rebuild their lives and achieve their full potential. That is what Molding Hearts is all about. The reason why I have chosen to try to partner with 29 Palms is because of the resources that I have to bring to the table. Currently, Molding Hearts has contracts with the Department of Behavioral Health, as well as the Department of Probation for the County of San Bernardino. We collaborate with APS, as well as many other outlets. The benefit of our organization is a lot of times when individuals are homeless, you might have someone that gives them a 30-day stay, and then they end up being homeless again. Our agency is able to offer free housing for 1 year, where the individual is required to work. They are required to save 80% of their income. With the resources that Molding Hearts has, we are able to employ by training, as well as we have outlets that hire the individuals that are willing to work. We also work with the youth. When someone is homeless or they don't really have those skill sets, we actually hire them on to give them that training, that experience, so that they can go into the real world and know how to make life work. The youth that are 18 to 24 can live in our program for sometimes up to 24 months. Could you imagine being broken as an adult or a young adult, but have the resources to be able to stay rent-free and save all of your income? Most of the individuals that graduate our program are leaving with $10,000 to $15,000, which isn't a whole lot. But if you are coming from a homelessness, from a sleeping bag, from a tent, it's a great jump start. Our agency is not big on temporary solutions. And what I hope to happen with the City of 29 Palms as we collaborate is that we understand that the basic steps in the process include direct outreach. We do have to identify. We need to coordinate with outreach providers, screening for the Rapid Rehousing Assistance Program. Housing barriers, we have to have low housing barriers. So when an individual first comes to us, we basically are saying, hey, please come into the doors, let us help you. So the funding that we are requesting is the startup. From the startup, after that, we are able to take the resources and the programs that we have to make the individuals accountable for their lives. An overall budget narrative of what we're asking. Molding Hearts respectfully requests the $24,999 from the City of 29 Palms to support their homeless concerns. The goal of which is to assist people who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless by providing stable housing while they work to establish skills that will ensure their ongoing self-sufficiency. In addition to housing, the programs we offer support and training focused on developing marketable employment skills, business etiquette, financial literacy, and other necessary survival success skills. The funds from the City of 29 Palms will be used to assist individuals with the first step into housing. More specifically, Molding Hearts will subsidize the first month of housing for the clients who have the ability to live independently with the support of the program. Clients placed in independent housing will work with career coaches and be monitored on an ongoing basis until they complete their objective and demonstrate self-sufficiency by consciously working and supporting themselves for a minimum, normally about 6 months. In the event that the client does not continue with the program or maintain employment, Molding Hearts will work with them to find a more structured support environment. Do you have any questions that I can help you to understand Molding Hearts a little more?
Do we have any questions from up here so far?
So potentially, what we could do is we could conclude Ms. Lakita's presentation for the moment, open it up to public comment, and then continue your discussion, and in which you have questions for Ms. Lakita, then Ms. Lakita would be able to respond to those questions. Is that acceptable?
I think that works as a good flow.
Very good. That way the public has a chance to opine, and then we can get into your discussion.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
That's a good suggestion.
So, Ms. Lakita, we will ask you to sit down, and then we're going to open the public comment, get some comments from the public, and then that might kind of draw some more questions for us, and then we'll call you back up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trying to organize my papers. Okay, I'm going to open up public comment. I just received one last comment card from April Holcomb. April, you have on your check to make public comment, just general public comment.
Yes, sir.
We've closed general public comment for this meeting.
Okay.
So was the comment in regards to the homelessness act stuff?
No, actually it was on Dr. George Monopolis's behalf for housing apartments being built possibly.
Okay,
You
so
bet.
that still fit, I'm gonna say that fits within what we're doing here.
Yes.
So then I will call you up in short order, okay? Thank you. Cindy Bernard, please.
The representative from Molding Hearts makes it sound like a great program, and it may be. However, I have a few scattered thoughts on this. What I find disturbing about this extremely rushed proposal is that it represents a shift away from caring for and helping unhoused people who are a part of our community. We've talked about providing them showers. We've talked about developing a navigation center. But however, this shifts our general direction for how we would deal with our residents who are unhoused, and this moves us towards shipping them elsewhere, potentially against their will. Is that the kind of community we really want to be in 29 Palms? With regards to an unhoused population affecting tourism, as mentioned in the Molding Hearts proposal, show me the data. Show me the data that proves that's actually an issue. Caring for our fellow human beings should drive our decisions, not an unproven claim about tourism. The committee was seriously considering potential options before it was put on hold, without either Andrea or Vino present at the meeting to weigh in on that action when the Housing and Homelessness Committee was put on hold. Now, out of nowhere, there is a rushed meeting to consider what appears to be a rushed proposal with an estimate designed to avoid going through a formal bid process, as opposed to being priced for the care actually needed. The applicant, well, I'm not going to go into the 990 and the Registry of Charitable Trust issues with this applicant. We rewrote the STR code. We formed a real committee with 3 residents and real representation from council and planning that met independently of those 2 bodies. We managed on the STR code to do a successful revision of the code in 9 months. Obviously, solutions for assisting unhoused are a bigger task, but don't our unhoused residents deserve the same serious attention as we paid to the STR code? Instead, we have a semi-committee that's cobbled onto the end of planning commission meetings. Our unhoused residents deserve the attention of a formal city committee on this issue so we can really deal with this problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Steve Frienderly. Sorry if I got your last name wrong. I am horrible at that.
Good evening. Last name is Fredley, sir.
Oh, sorry.
That's all good. Yeah, I'm opposed to this. Just piggybacking on what the young lady said before me, this is really rushed. And it appears to me that we're just kicking the problem down the road. And what are we going to do with these homeless people that don't want to go? Are you going to round them up and force them to go someplace? I spent 20 years of my life defending the Constitution, and everybody that's a citizen of this country is afforded the protections of the Constitution. And you just can't round people up and haul them off to someplace else because we don't like them here. I come from Everett, Washington, where the homeless problem is just outrageous. You guys have no idea what it looks like up there. Okay? I understand homelessness is a problem, but we have to find a better solution than just shipping them down the road. What happens after the end of the year? What happens to those people? Do they end up right back here again, and we're back here again in a year saying, okay, we need to give them another $25,000? We need to keep that money in the city and try to figure out a real-time solution for these people, not just a Band-Aid to fix a problem that we all perceive as a huge issue. Okay, and I agree with this lady here about the tourism. I want to see the facts and figures. I can pencil whip anything with the best of them, but I need to see the facts and figures that this is really affecting tourism. Thank you, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Please, no applause. Thank you. That just will slow this down some. Eric Menendez.
Hey there. So I think, first of all, I'm putting on my nursing hat because I have 20 years in nursing, pre-hospital care and nursing. So I've dealt a lot with homeless care and homeless committees. I think, first of all, thank you so much for the presentation. I think the fact that she stepped up to do something to try to help this community, help this region, I think it's amazing. This is a problem that affects the entire region. It's not something 25,000, even 100,000, or a couple 100,000 is going to fix. So I can only say, one thing is I've been going to the East Valley Steering Committee meetings and so forth, and I actually just took a seat on the Community Health Board for the district. And I was talking with the CEO of the healthcare system about the fact that I noticed that there was no one from the healthcare system on that board at the steering committee regionally from the county. And that's a problem because this is a multidisciplinary problem. This isn't a nursing problem. It's not a drug addiction problem. It's not a crime problem. It's huge. And if you don't get people hooked up to services to keep them out of the hospitals, out of the streets, out of the jails, it's not going to work. So I think they are working on trying to get a staff member from the healthcare district to be on that steering committee. As a community health board member, she told me I couldn't be on it because even though I have the background, it's just because I have to remain anonymous. So now I get a taste of what you guys get to feel up there being on a board, so people can now, so I can people can give it to me up there. But I just want to say, like, there's a lot of things in her proposal too, like, are questionable. You can't force people to go where they're not going to want to go. You can't, the fact that a lot of people will violate, and they, I know she says she won't put them back on the street, but we all know, and I can tell you this from decades of pre-hospital care and emergency care, if they go into custody, they're just going to go back to the street because the sheriff's department, or they can't house them either. So, and again, not to fault her proposal on that, it's just a big issue, and we need support from the county, from the region, and from the state. So I'm not particularly opposed or for her proposal, but I think if there's a way you can work with Molding Hearts to figure out something, to do something as a temporary fix for the winter coming up, I think it's great. But I think we need to be advocating a little more for more resources from the county and working together with the regional, as a regional approach with this. Because one other last thing is, as far as tourism goes, I know I talked to Stone about encampments, people are setting up on the stage and stuff. I don't have a problem. I mean, we don't want that obviously for tourism, but again, I'm not saying that's bad. It's not, I'm not trying to say that's criminal vagrancy or anything like that. But, I think, the fact that people are coming here, and I'm getting this as my regional perspective of tourism, they're saying, well, you have more homelessness over there. I'm like, well, that's actually kind of a sign that we're doing things right, that people want to come here because we have resources. So how to fix that is, yes, maybe let's patrol the area and encourage outreach over there to kind of get them into care if they want it. Maybe say, hey, you can't hang out on the stage because that would affect tourism, but let's get you somewhere else to go. And I know Wayne Hamilton, if you're here, has also had some ideas. I think you should look at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Harper.
Hello, greetings. Thank you for taking my card. I think it's a good idea, Molding Hearts, but the only concern I have is that instead of them taking them out of 29 Palms, I would like to see the resource in 29. The homelessness here in 29, I see them around. I know some of them stay in our parking lot. I just think that we need more resource for them. For us to move them to another city, I don't think it's fair. We hear that all the time, that they busing immigrants to different states and, things like that. So I think right here in 29, if she had a house here in 29, put them in the house here in 29, have a resilience center for them. She talks about how she organizes with the outreach as far as the probation and, San Bernardino. And okay, well, that's good. So since she has all that resource, she could bring it right here into 29 Palms. I don't think that the amount of money that she's asking for, that's not really going to do a whole lot to take them down the street. I did the math. $70 a night for 20 people is $1,500 one day in a hotel. We have plenty of hotels here that they can be housed in. It's getting wintertime, I understand that. We give them sleeping bags, we give them blankets, but we need to do a little bit more. It's about time that we really step up and do something. I understand Stone doesn't want a shelter. We're not even big enough for a shelter, And if we had a shelter, we'll be getting people from different areas coming to our shelter. So we just need to have a collaboration. I think we have our chair, Asterisk. I think they can get together and they could collaborate and come up with something. They're both in the same field of helping the community. We're all concerned about the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, no applause, please. Jen DeFalco.
Hello, I'm Jen DeFalco. I'm the director of the Act of Kindness in the Morongo Basin for 17 years out here. I personally go onto the street every couple of days with food, snacks, hygiene, and sleeping bags and try to help our homeless population. I'm very familiar with Molding Hearts, and I commend them for all the work they do in Yucca Valley. The concern I have is the goals that they had listed. Goal number 1, in conjunction with the SBCD and San Bernardino Probation Department, remove all homeless people from the streets of the city of 29 Palms within 24 to 72 hours of receiving funding. So we have a lot of homeless individuals out here, but we have dozens and dozens of families with children. I would like to know where you expect all these people to go. And a lot of these families are local. They are from 29 Palms. It would be unfair and cruel to ship them to other cities that they are not familiarized with. I would like to see our city help our families here with better housing, help them with needs in our city, and let's take care of our own people and not have them other places. Thank you.
Thank you. Astra Johnson, and again, please, no applause because it just slows things down, and we're trying to get something accomplished today. So let's get through this and have some good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to me. Yes, I'm Astra Johnson with Morongo Basin Arch, and I've known Lakita for many years. I know her program. It's a very, very good program in Yucca Valley, and we often are partnering, recommending clients to her, and then she recommends them back to us at times too. So I'm familiar with her program. It's a very good program. On the other hand, I'm not sure exactly what they are trying to accomplish here. I've heard a lot of the arguments. I know we had suggested, well, actually Wayne Hamilton couldn't come today. Wayne had suggested the Burtech building. I don't know if you remember any of that. It was in discussion, at least with the manager. And we really didn't get very far with the Burtech building. We were going to use it as like a drop-in place for the day and possibly a safe parking. So there's a lot of issues out here. I mean, I could spend more than 3 minutes, so I don't want to get into it. But one of them was trying to create a safe parking spot. We have a lot of people that live in their cars or their vans, and they're constantly being pushed around trying to find a place to park. And we thought if we simply establish a safe place to park, especially for the women, we have a lot of senior women in cars, believe it or not, at night. It's not safe for them. We need a safe place for them to go. And it's going to get very cold in the winter. Last year, remember, on March 1st, it snowed. It snowed, and we wound up putting people in the motel that were living on the street because we knew they couldn't handle the cold. There were seniors living on sidewalks. So we have a lot to consider here on exactly what are we going to do, especially with the weather getting colder, all the different propositions. I know we had, the city gave us money to put people into motels, which we did. But that's a stopgap measure. It really is. And like what Jen said, we're talking about more than just the people you see behind AutoZone. You have to understand that there are more than even 60 people here that are homeless. There are hundreds of people that are homeless out here. And if you go farther out of the 29 Palms area into the Joshua Tree, Wayne Hamilton is trying to draw attention to all the RVs that are scattered everywhere that people are living in. It's a huge number. He's estimating there are thousands out here, thousands that are in Wonder Valley, all through Landers, all through the towns. They're not supposed to be, camping on somebody's property, but they are, and they are. Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
A lot to consider.
Crystal Hughes, please.
Thank you. I am currently homeless also, and in
in her mission statement, I hear a lot about putting people back in the workforce and preparing them for that. A lot of people are not, they can't work. They're not employable, they have mental illness, or, you know, they need psychiatric care. I heard nothing about any of those issues being addressed. That's one of my concerns. My other concern is also the rounding up part within 24 to 72 hours. There's a lot of people out there that won't comply with that. They won't comply, they won't like it, and they'll have breakdowns because of it. And if they're shipped away from their support system, which is here in 29 Palms, it also creates more issues with mental health. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Free Prestone.
My name is Jeffrey Preston.
Preston, sorry.
Did I accidentally put an E on the end of my
No,
last name?
I am very
Okay.
bad at this. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in such a heavy matter. To be addressed this evening, I only see 2 homeless people here. I recognize them both, and I serve them both. Three. I serve food daily to the homeless community. And although the group I serve is small, comparatively to what is actually out there, I find the proposal made this evening so vague and veiled. I would ask the following questions. Who's going to, specifically, who will provide the training for the skill sets? Who's on staff? Who's doing that training? Are they qualified? Who are the employers you're going to be handing these people off to? Are they going to provide training also? Where do you intend to house these people specifically? Is it in 29 Palms? Is it a home here? Is it a hotel room? Or are you going to try and ship them off? Do you really intend to separate these people from their loved ones, their community, the familiarity with the community, and their pets? I saw what happened here recently when the county flood control behind Stater Brothers tried to forcibly evict that encampment up there. I saw the stress that ensued in that family of people, and it wasn't good. We can do better than this. We need specific, concrete ideas followed up by facts, names of peoples and agencies that are also tied with them, and how are they going to be involved? What are they going to provide specifically? It can't be just veiled ideas. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Shaquiz?
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Just give me a second. I'm currently homeless. The only way I'm out here is because of my kids. I don't want to be shipped away from my kids. If I gotta be homeless, I want to be homeless next to my kids. A lot of it is due to mental stress. A lot of our homeless people are mentally ill. I understand the housing, that's great. I understand the program, that's great. But we have to address what's going on within these homeless people. We didn't wake up and say we want to be homeless. It just happened, and we're trying to live. We're not trying to inconvenience anyone. We're not trying to be a bother or a burden. We're just trying to live and make it with what we have. a lot of people look down on us. We didn't ask to be this way. So if you guys can help us, that's fine. But shipping us away from our people and familiar environments, believe me, trust me, I know, because I've been homeless for a long time. I came from the city of LA. I was out here in Pomona, California for over 15 years, homeless. And I'm here because of my kids. My grandfather died, and I came out here to see my kids. So I'm trying to make it the best way I can. So if we are doing anything to the city to make you guys uncomfortable, we're not trying to. Believe me, we're not. We're just trying to live. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you very much. April Holcomb.
Hello. Homeless committee members, my name is April Halcomb. As a landowner in 29 Palms, I am very interested in helping build affordable housing. A friend of mine is interested in helping to finance a project of 20 to 30 homes. Would the city be able to assist financially and in the ways to make the project feasible? One such way would be to share the cost of building a road that may be necessary for the project. Another way would be to ensure that a percentage of the homes would be rented. If the city wants to have more housing, then it should be able to assist in some ways to help make this a reality. Sincerely, Dr. George Monopolis. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mary Jane.
Good evening. Thank you for having this meeting. I really hope that you do look into the Burtec for a navigation center. It's a fenced-in yard. It's a perfect location, and I think it would work very well. And if you don't know anything about it, ask Mr. Stone James. I would like to hear more about the program. To me, the presentation didn't answer major questions. Jeff asked some of my questions, but where will the people go? Who is all part of the program? How did they get to Yucca Valley? How has it worked in Yucca Valley? What have they done in Yucca Valley? And so I think it needs to be further addressed as to what the plan is, because I didn't capture the plan by the presentation. So pretty much that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Beth Williams.
I don't want to be redundant because most of the questions that have been asked or addressed to you is the same questions that I wanted to ask. This is a bigger problem, I think, than for us to try to resolve this tonight, but at least we're discussing it and bringing it open, and that's what's important. That's all I'd like to say.
Thank you. Steve Doubt.
Good evening. My name is Steve Dowd. I'm a resident of 29 Palms since 1999, and I have previously been unhoused, or it was 50 years ago, but the situation is very similar to the situations that are experienced here. All of the good questions that have been asked by everyone need to be answered in order to enter into a partnership with Molding Hearts. I'm in favor of Molding Hearts. I've worked with them, although only on one occasion. I'm not in favor of shipping people, but my experience with Molding Hearts is that they don't that the person has to accept whatever is being offered. It's unrealistic that they can do all of the homeless based on the numbers that we're hearing that are actually out there. But some of the people can be taken care of. And the Molding Hearts program involves also subsidized housing. In my case, the person was recommended by Adult Protective Services, the San Diego County, and the amount that the person is paying is calculated based on their ability to pay from the income that they're getting. So there's a range of situations that Molding Hearts is able to take care of. And there's a range of options that the city needs to have, and I'll illustrate this, that all unhoused persons are as various as everyone in this room. And if right now you are all unhoused, think if any one of us, if any two of us would even want the same solution, and that includes you. It's as various as the people. And so there needs to be all those varieties of intake and taking care of and processing. And unless they're on parole, you can't move them. The parole officer can move them. But in terms of custody or shipping, if that's in the proposal, I would be surprised that it would not involve the consent of the individual. Thank you.
Thank you. April Ramirez.
Good evening. I just very quickly glanced over the proposal that Molding Hearts shared a copy on her. I don't see anywhere that it says anyone's being shipped anywhere. And that's been something that was mentioned time after time again. As a matter of fact, on one, so it kind of makes me wonder where that terminology is coming from, where that idea is coming from, if it's not in here in writing, number one. Number two, on page 4, it says Molding Hearts will keep your funds local, meaning we will never use your funds allocated by the City of Torrey Palms for other projects. So just a little bit of confusion. If somebody would care to share where the idea of shipping people off came from?
Ms. Ramirez, I can respond to that.
Okay. When I'm done?
Yes, ma'am.
The second part of it is that I always tell people, especially now, that I'm in the public eye, I'm less shy about my story, but I know what it is to be homeless. So I do understand the, and again, through no fault of my own, just circumstances that I was born into, but I understand the urgency and the need to find a solution. The other half of this that I would really and genuinely ask you guys to go home and look at and read in depth and in detail is that in September 2024, the Supreme Court passed Grant Pass versus Johnson. And in that, just very quick, in that ruling, the Supreme Court ruled a 6-3 decision that fining and arresting homeless people does not violate constitutional protections against cruel and unusual punishment under the 8th Amendment. So what does that mean? That means that essentially, on January 1st, it's going to be illegal to be homeless. You will be fined twice based off, what California has in the writing, and I really want you guys to look into it. You'll be fined twice, and on the third time, whoever, whatever local law enforcement agency it is, has the right to legally arrest people. So while I understand that some people might feel like this is rushed, I think we need to have a clear understanding that there is a law in place that is going to force us to make some sort of decision in the near future to help our unhoused residents. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any more public comment slips. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Okay, I'm going to close public comment. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I? Please come forth. But when you get done, ma'am, if you could fill out a name and address slip, please.
Not used to talking in public, but
Ma'am, would you please be so kind as to give your name?
Okay, sorry. My name is Annette Kraft. I have been homeless since 2020. I find it hard to find a bathroom when I need one. I've met a lot of the homeless people, and I know a lot of people that aren't homeless. And everybody seems to put homeless people in a category of being mentally ill or drug addicts. Yes, there are some. I have mental problems. Most people do, but there's a lot of things that I feel the city can do and people, the community can do to help them. There are things, you know, I've been told for 3 years that there's people to help, but my personal problem is finding a place to rent that will accept me. I don't make 3 times the amount of rent, okay? But I do have an income. And a lot of people are like that right now. There's a lot of people. I just want to know if either one of the people that are trying to do this, if either one of them will approach that and try to solve it. For a while I was making meals for homeless people, and I had like 35 people, you know, 10 this day, 35 this day. That it fluctuated. A lot of those people that I met 3 years ago, a lot of them are still out there. A lot of them are losing weight. They don't get the medical attention that they need, and they can't get a regular shower. You know, there's no place for them to take a shower. No place to use the bathroom, and the hygiene is a big thing. I mean, you know, tents and sleeping bags, that's nice. Taking, you know, meals every once in a while, that's nice too. But it needs to be addressed. Something needs to be done, because there's going to be people dying this winter if they don't get under a roof where they can get warm somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to give public comment? Okay. Please come up, and then once you get done, please fill out a name and address slip, and then when you step up there, announce your name, please.
Yes, sir. Hello, everyone. My name is Shane DeFalco. Usually I do not speak, but this is really important to me. I just want to point out that what the lady was talking about, sorry that I forgot your name, Miss Ramirez, thank you, sorry, about the homeless being arrested. That's only if the city enacts the law. That is not a state law. That's only if you guys decide to pick up on that law, that they would be homeless. So I wanted to point that out. Number 2, it's hard. You know, if my wife and I weren't together, we would be homeless because we do not make 3 times the income. Sadly, I think that there's going to be more homeless people because of the rent prices. It's ridiculous. I understand everybody has to have, you know, make an income to survive themselves, but I think the city fails to see that with the income being so high and you only have minimum wage jobs out here, unless you have like a bachelor's degree or thankfully you have a nice city job, it's hard to survive. So I just wanted to point that out, and I hope that you guys think in the best interest of the homeless. Thank you.
Thank you. Please come forward.
And Mr. DeFalco and Ms. Kraft, thank you for going and
Hello.
grabbing a, could you hold on just a moment, ma'am? So Mr. DeFalco and Ms. Kraft, thank you for filling out that coupon, not coupon, but page, just to say your name and then giving that to our acting city clerk, please. Thank you, ma'am. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jamie Aldman, and I'm homeless tonight. But I'm homeless because I'm looking for my son. Somebody took him. His name's Albert Gonzalez. The police have failed to look for him, and I cannot leave this area. I need to find him. But I have nowhere to go. I don't have a roof over my head no more. And I don't even know what to do next. I mean, where do you put your clothes? Everything has to go in the trash? The only place to go is behind Staters. I'm like, what? I can't do that. I got pride, you know? I've never been homeless before, but I see a lot of people here and behind AutoZone and Staters and stuff, and my heart goes out to them. And they got, their hearts are made of gold. And they're afraid to leave this area, just like I am. I got to keep searching, even if I don't have a penny. But I'm going to keep looking. But to be hauled away from Yucca Valley and all that, I need to be here, closer to my son and my sister. This is all I have. And I got 3 little doggies. and no roof. I mean, I have a tent, I just got one, but it's really thin. And I don't even know where to put it now, because they say that you get arrested for being homeless, so what am I supposed to do? Does anybody know? Can somebody help me? I could pay rent. There's three of us that have 3 incomes. I mean, that'd be 3 times the rent, but I can't find a house or anybody that could help us. I don't have no evictions, none of that stuff, but still, I can't find a house. And they don't want a bunch of people, you know, that it would have been 3 families trying to rent out one house, a 3-bedroom at least, you know, but there's none out there. And I don't want to go to Yucca. That's crazy. It'd be like a camp or something. I don't know what to think about it. I'm just losing my mind. Being the homeless, and then my son's missing, and I can't get no help from anyone. Anyways, good luck, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna close public comment now. Sir, you've already had your opportunity to speak.
Yes, may I
Yes.
respond to a couple things? And then Ms. Pahahano, I didn't hear your question there real quick.
That you were going to respond to the question of the probation and the removal.
And the probation and what?
Goal number 1,
Okay.
addressing that probation.
Okay, got it. Yes. Thank you very much. I
Of
appreciate
course.
that. Okay, am I good?
Please, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So before I share some thoughts, and I think probably the most important thing is to thank the people that have come tonight and shared their opinion. Clearly, this is a stunningly important conversation and a lot of emotion, and understandably, and a lot of very serious considerations and serious manners. So before I begin to address some of the conceptions that I think definitely from an ethical standpoint need to be addressed, because I can definitely appreciate some of the initial concern, I just wanted to acknowledge everyone in the room and thank you for sharing your perspective and sharing your concerns. I don't think I know, the situation regarding the unhoused is extremely complex. And I don't know really any city in the U.S., maybe there's a few, but really most of the cities are experiencing this problem on some level or another. And so this is challenging. There's an awful lot of very bright minds. I know I've personally dealt with and been exposed to homelessness through some of my reserve work, and even some, of course, my work here and within my previous cities that I've worked for. And so this is an extremely profound and extremely complex. There's not one solution that works. And I would imagine that one solution that works in one city may not work in another city. And so I think it's important to kind of punctuate this evening with the acknowledgement that this is not the city's only solution. This is a solution to address a component of the problem that we have in our community. This is, I believe, as a staff member, based on everything that I've seen, the totality, the many, many discussions I've had, this is an important step. This is not the final step, but this is an important step to address an aspect. And so one of the things that I just jumps out, and I just had to say something, and Ms. Lakita is going to do a great job, and I definitely don't, I'm not trying to speak for her, but this concept of rounding up, I think that that the verbiage in the proposal could have been a little bit sharper, could have been a little bit clearer. In the conversations that I've had with Ms. Lakita, and she is happy to speak to this when I'm done, is the fact that the goal is to go out and to contact all of the homeless individuals that she's able to find. We can't say all, because that's probably constantly changing. Folks are moving. Some don't want to be contacted. But there will be no rounding up. And so I just want to make sure I concretely, these individuals, they're a part of our community, and they have rights just like everyone else. And so in no way are any of those rights going to be violated. And it is my hope that Ms. Lakina communicate this, that she is offering a pathway out of homelessness. She cannot compel, she will not force, the city will not compel, the city will not force a person to take those services. It is ultimately up to them. So that's one thing that I just really wanted to make sure I underscored. That will be no rounding up. There has been and will continue to be a concrete respecting of the humanness of this, respecting of the individual rights. Just taking a look at some of my notes here. So with that, I would like to ask Ms. Lakita to come back up to the podium. She is welcome to, if there's anything that really jumped out during some of those comments, if she would like to talk to, or if, of course, the commission has, and I know the commission does, have comments for her, and then if there are other things that I can contribute to the conversation, if it's not addressed, I'll do that. Thank you, sir.
So I think I'd like to start with going through some questions from the committee. Who would like to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
So I agree. The verbiage in this is extremely aggressive. I'm all for resources in the city. I have been doing my own fair share over the last 10 years, off and on throughout my life, with collecting warm clothes during the winter, passing them out. The one thing I do notice with a lot of this is you have contracts with a lot of different people. I am curious on you use leverage multiple times in this proposal. To me, is an interesting word to use. You will leverage contracts with county and federal agencies. What exactly do those? What are you leveraging exactly? And also, there's another portion of here where leveraging our community to let's see, sorry. We will leverage our other contracts with the community to get our clients employed. I'm curious on what businesses we're speaking of in those situations, because I'm for resources, but there are a lot of interesting holes in this, and like I said, I clothe a lot of these the homeless that are here every year, and I've been doing this. I've been here. I was born and raised here, and these are community members, like you had said, Stone. These are community members. They are people. They have families. They have feelings. They have all these different things, and there's no where they're going, houses that are being addressed. Even the proposal alone of the amount of money, $24,999, even draws a concern to me. I don't understand why there are other mutual aid groups in this, and apparently the Homeless and Housing Committee was we disbanded due to too many resources here. So where are these other bidding resources if we are going underneath this bid? Like, these are all red flag concerns to me. And that's just the start. I've been just reading this, and I'm just curious on a lot of different things. Even going through their website of housing youth 88%, recidivism rate, 53% graduate through 93%, I think that was on their website. And I'm curious on what those statistics even, like, I understand what they mean, but where are the numbers to those as well? It's just a big move to rush within 90 days, 30 days of, let me see here. 30 days to intake an assessment, like, and you have this. The sheriff department will be helping with this as well, apparently, because that's a lot. That's a lot of work to do, right? Mm-hmm. And within 90 days, provide an updated and long-term housing. When housing, we already know, is quite a feat to do in any city currently. So I'm just curious. I have a lot of questions. First, I guess, where will you be taking them? Where are your houses? Where are all the houses that you will be taking the people who do decide to go?
Am I able to answer?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, please.
Okay. First and foremost, I respect and I acknowledge every concern that everyone has. Once again, I've been doing this for almost 20 years, and I'm passionate about what I do. By no means do I feel that homelessness should be addressed by incarceration. The reason why I'm looking to try to help cities move the mission forward is because I do not think it's fair for people to be forced to go certain places. I believe it's nice if they have a choice. When you asked about leveraging the contract, many agencies do not have the Department of Behavioral Health contracts that I have that are able to allow individuals to live for 1 to 2 years for free. So that's why I'm leveraging my contract, that if a person comes into housing after that first 30 days and we can get them signed up with that program, I am not asking them for a penny for 24 months. That's leveraging the contract that Molding Hearts has been able to receive. If an individual is on probation, they are able to live for 1 year for free with 80% of their income going towards their savings so that they can have permanent supportive housing. That's leveraging the contract that we have with probation. For client employment, we work with WDD, Workforce Development, we work with First Institute, we work with many agencies that are willing to take on our clients because this mission is bigger than me. This mission is huge, and the only way that you can bring somebody from an uncomfortableness is give them all the resources that we can. I have been able to identify not just Molding Hearts houses between 29, let me stop. I'm nervous today. All of these clients were not just going to be going into Molding Hearts houses. I have identified resources from 29 all the way down to San Bernardino for individuals that needed resources in different areas. Yes, if they are able to stay here, by all means, they need to stay here. But what I am trying to say, we are not trying to round up in a negative way, but if individuals were on probation and they are supposed to be living a certain way, probation would support us in getting the areas appropriate for the city of 29 Palms. When we talk about the housing, the recidivism, the graduation, we have a success rate because we have a program. I don't work by myself. I was just recognized by the Basin White Foundation for the Together We Can Award for the year because I work with agencies. I work with Department of Behavioral Health. I work with probation. I work with APS. I work with Children and Family Services. I work with the collaboration so that we can have outcomes. I'm not trying to move anyone to uncomfortable isms. What I'm trying to move them to is to show them that there's resources for them to not have to stay on the street, to not have to find a bathroom, to not have to take a shower on the street, to not have to sleep in a tent and a sleeping bag, but letting them know Molding Hearts has fought to have contracts for millions of dollars. These resources are here. Let's spend it. Let's get you housed. If someone has a mental illness, let's fight to get you Social Security. I have the tools. These numbers, those are my success rates. Yes, some probationers will reoffend, but I guess what? Some of them will not. And that's the reason why the housing, the team members, the individuals that we're working with, we have success because we don't work alone. We work as a collaboration, and I've been doing it for almost 20 years. I don't go into the street and I do not give tents. I do give them a resource. I give them a hand up, not a handout.
Commissioner Garcia, you had also asked about the, thank you for that, Ms. Lakita. You had also asked, why involve the Sheriff's Department, and having, close family friends who are deputy sheriffs, they often have the best knowledge of where the unhoused individuals are living. And so if, if Miss Lakita is going to go out looking for unhoused individuals to contact and find out, hey, we have certain solutions, we have certain resources that we would like to offer you if you choose to take them, I think it makes a tremendous amount of sense for her then to be able to link up with the individuals, in this case the Sheriff's Department. If there's other individuals in the community that know, that's great too. But to be able to say, Miss Lakita, go to this street and this street. You're gonna find 2 people there. Go back behind this store, because otherwise she does not have the familiarity. Her organization does not have the intimate familiarity with their city as the Sheriff's Department or potentially some folks in the audience.
Mr. Stone, also, we currently are working with Inroads, and Inroads is basically the Sheriff's Department as well as APS and many organizations that come as a collaborative to be non-aggressive, but to be able to show the individuals that are homeless. We might not get to them on the first day, but we're coming back 2 days later. We're letting them know that the resources that are there, and at the same time, trying to get them to where that they will want to leave. It's not healthy to be on the streets, sleeping in the dirt. We want to show them that we want to give them 3 meals, 2 snacks, a warm shower, and a shelter.
Vino, did you have any questions or comments?
I have some questions for the applicant. Ma'am, in fact, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and if you can answer them as I ask them, go on answering them as I ask them. I don't want you to take anything personal because I'm not trying to attack you. Is your 501c of good standing
Yes, sir.
with the state and federal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this grant that you're asking for, the funds would be used solely for housing or training the people back into this society?
We are leveraging our other resources for the training. The money would actually be for the startup, for the clients to be able to have their first month in the housing as we secure their funding source.
When you house these folks, if I pick up the phone and ask you, can I come visit and take a look at your place, would you grant me permission to come and visit and see what the conditions are of those places?
Yes, sir.
You would? Okay. I want to thank you for coming up and going out of your way to try to take care of the homeless. I want everybody in this room to understand one thing. I think you heard the lady said that it's hard for her to find a bathroom. Behind Stater Brothers, behind 71809, 71829, 71845, there's a flood channel there, there's a lot of homeless. And I'm sure most of the females will know that when it's that time of the month, it's very difficult. And as a male, I know as I'm aging, I wake up at night and I need a bathroom. So I think the amount of money that you're asking, it's not a huge amount for the city, but like our city manager said, this is not the solution, but it's just one of the solutions that you are just trying to come up with. And hopefully this thing will roll into something bigger. I mean, I've been to some of the homeless programs, and I've heard some horror stories of people who got 501Cs that got money from cities or got these grants, and they were not of good standing. That's why I asked, is your 501C of good standing? And I hope that city staff would vet you if you are granted the money. If the council okays the money for you. I like that you said that if I pick up the phone, I can come and see, because when I first came to the country, I used to manage a place that used to house homeless. And if you treat them with a little bit of respect, they tend to like you. And I'm hoping that you don't put in 5, 6 unknown people in one room or one house, that when you house. I also want everybody to understand that when somebody becomes homeless, in the first 90 days, he or she is very vulnerable and will be on some kind of substance abuse. And if you're a female, you're much more vulnerable. So I want to thank you for this and coming up and taking the initiative to go ahead and do something about the homeless. And the weather is getting bad as well. Thanks.
You guys have any questions?
I can respond to Mr. Vino's questions.
Please,
Ms.
sir.
Lakita, did you have anything that you wanted to add? And then I'm going to look up something here real quick. Ms. Lakita.
Having contracts with the state, if you looked at my website, you also can see I do a feeding program for after-school enrichment program throughout San Bernardino, LA County, and San Diego County to help kids after school. We're a full body approach. We try to help the children, we try to help families. We've also just recently acquired where if a mother has a child that's 12 to 25 years old that's homeless, the county is helping to assist with first and last if they're able to sustain the move-in. I am here today not to have people think that I'm trying to do anything wrong. The only thing I'm trying to do is bring the resources to the table, and I want people to understand that if anything that you're going to crucify me for trying. Because last time I checked, I'm the one that's trying to bring my contracts to 29 Palms.
Leslie?
Yeah, I think there was like a huge misunderstanding in the beginning of this meeting that just kind of like, there is a huge effort. We've had tons of meetings where we're like, yeah, there's resources. Yeah, there's resources. We're going to get it together. We're going to get this list together. We go to Astrid, go over here, go to Arch, go here. I think this is, you know, we said, yeah, let's get a shower trailer, and we sent that forward and $15,000. Yes. What's being asked here is not a astronomical amount to get started to plug in resources. And I think that there are a lot of good opportunities and somebody willing to feet to ground to try. And so there are a lot of confusing things that kind of happened throughout this meeting. Thank you, Stone James, for clarifying a lot of that. And the intention of the city is to help, is to care. We have somebody here that needs resources right now. And I hope they're outside talking and helping that person while we're having this meeting, because that's where we put our money where our mouth is with this whole situation. Somebody came here in this room to ask for help. So I understand that maybe this very quick typed, but there's a whole background behind it. There's a lot of nerves that are maybe even kind of throwing everybody off, nervousness. I guess I don't really particularly have a question right now. You seem to have hit a lot of how that training program works, where you would house them, and sometimes that's through subsidies of rental, homes that you're able to find within the community that could be something that's what they want. Perfect. You made that connection for me. I was lost, and you helped me with that connection. That sounds more or less what this whole program is about. We're not trying to scare anybody that we're going to be fining and, rounding you up where you were probationed out of whatever city to get you out here. The whole thing is to make the connection for betterment. So I just really appreciate the opportunity to hear your presentation, to see the effort of somebody willing to come to 29 Palms and try for us. This is, I think, a really good step in considering we approved 15,000 shower trailer, and this sounds like a whole lot more for not that much more. So I appreciate that.
I want to say that, I do appreciate you coming here, and I have heard of Molding Hearts. I still, regardless of that, anybody coming to the area with resources, because of the last two events where we had a navigation center that fell through for various reasons, a shower that fell through due to the helping party decided not to help. If we are going to make any kind of move in the Homeless and Housing Committee or for the city, it needs to be a for sure thing. It has to, it's the third time of failing in this bothers me. And I still have questions. What's your annual cost per person? And how much of that is from Social Security and other resources?
I kind of think like that's a great question, but she's not like this whole entity herself. She just plugs into those programs who can help. There's such a variety that this is just getting in touch with, you'll need this will be subsidized this way through the county, this will be through the state. So it's not necessarily her whole program is managing, like case managing these entire people. It's plugging them into those kind of places.
Which I completely understand, a middle ground. But these numbers should still be answerable numbers.
Like you want statistical data that shows her particular program.
Because if we're going to get in bed with someone who is supposed to be helping our community, like, yes, I want those numbers. I want I would like those numbers. Because I've gone, like, I think that if I understand 24,999 is drops in the bucket, but I just want to make sure that this is done correctly for the people that are here. I know most of the people that are in the streets by name, and they aren't here. And I have to advocate for them, whether it's uncomfortable for me or not, or I have to make sure that I do my due diligence to make sure that they are properly taken care of. And I'm not saying that what you've presented is, I'm not trying to crucify you. And I commend you for even standing up in front of anybody to try and help. It's just, I have much more questions than I believe one meeting will be able to answer.
And we also haven't heard from Andrea, and I'd like to give her some time to ask some questions if she has any.
Do you mind if I answer one of his questions? Do you mind? So quickly, I don't know how much your rent is every month, but I want you to know that from my program, from my stance, when I have someone that is housed from Social Security, we get $26 a day. In that $26, I'm giving 3 meals, 2 snacks, supervision, clothing over their head, a shower. $26 a day. Do you know minimum wage? That's 1 hour. I have to work multiple jobs to make this stream work. So when you ask, no one is trying to make it off of individuals that are on Social Security. Someone who's on Social Security has minimum funding. They still deserve the same quality of life. As Mr. Doubt will tell you, my locations have wood floors, brand new paint, new beds. I give them the finest quality of service with $26 a day. That shows you I'm not about the money. Our agency is about the purpose. Everyone deserves to have a successful life. And my 990 will show you we have the funding to secure housing between 29 Palms all the way down to San Bernardino. Tonight, I house 53 people throughout the county of San Bernardino. I want my actions to speak louder than my words. Thank you.
Please, go ahead. I know you have some questions.
Hi, and I think we all thank you for everything you do. And this isn't meant to be an attack or crucifixion. I think we'd have legitimate questions, and as a committee, and not, knowing these things. I do think there is some language and wording in here, which is, I would say should be rewritten for this thing too, because it says, remove all homeless people from the streets within 24 to 72 hours, something like that, I think is problematic. And I think
we are working on that.
Okay, but I think anything that does get approved should be, something that we all agree on. I just think there's a couple things like that. So some language issues. Also the clarity about what gets spent and people staying at 29 and wanting that to be important. I think there's, to me, some math questions, because I know that there's over 200 individuals and it doesn't seem possible to house them all, but it seems clear that perhaps the solution might fit 10 individuals who would greatly benefit and their lives would be changed and they could be lifted, really helped. But then it should be worded differently, because I think the 200 is not realistic. Many of them will not want to go. Many of them can't. Also, kids in school, local people. I also agree with everything. I mean, there's a lot of issues on the table because we've had a lot of initiatives. But I just think this document at a minimum should be reevaluated, rewritten, and kind of discussed again for further consideration.
So I've got one kind of just quick question. So this committee does not have the ability to, at the end of this meeting, give you $24,999, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
We don't have that ability.
Yes.
If we did, how many people tomorrow could you start helping? Well, what would that $24,000, $25,000 get the city of 29 Palms in? How many people could we help?
So what we did as far as my board, we looked at the last point in time count, as well as we've been behind Stater Brothers, AutoZone, Jack in the Box. We've done our footwork. We figured that we have counted 30 to 40 individuals, but at the same time, point in time count says 75. I have 75 beds ready, where if 75 people today decided that they wanted to come between 29 and San Bernardino County, all the way down to San Bernardino, I have collaborators that are willing to take individuals into housing to be able to do the steps that we talked about in our proposal.
How many beds do you have for just 29 Palms?
For 29 Palms right now, we have 24.
Okay. And that $25,000 investment from the city would house those 24 people for 30 days, or would they be in that year program to where they're actively seeking employment and saving 80% of their funding?
The funds that we are requesting from 29 Palms is the startup, to be able to be the first month, because when you get to an individual on the 10th or the 12th, a lot of times they have no funding. And it's also a good gateway to come into it. If you offer the free housing for the first month, now you're able to circle back, because that's a low barrier. We're able to say, what funding source can we actually help you with? Are you a transitional age youth? Are you under 25? That way we can move them to a program that's going to be able to assist with the free housing for 1 year. Are you on 1 to 2 years? Are you on probation? If you're on probation, we need to link you with services where you can be in housing for free for 1 year. You have mental health issues? I need to now link you with Valley Star in order to get the resources so that we can get you linked with Social Security. There's layers to it, and no two clients are alike.
Right. No,
So we would be able to work with those that wanted to be worked with in order to come to a healthy outlet. Like I have 9 resources right now on different funding pots that will be able to help the homeless. 9 times out of 10, the homeless will be able to fit into one of those, or we will be able to figure out how do we get them the services that they need.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes,
Chair,
sir.
does that kind of like make sense that it's not, the 25 is not like to just go help only 10 people, because that's not a lot of money to help a lot of people. Like, it's like her startup costs that help us get to her resource list and abilities.
Yes, that
Okay,
makes sense to me.
Okay.
I got it. Do we have any more from up here discussion we would like to take place?
I think the city manager was supposed to answer the question I asked about vetting, or
About vetting. Oh,
Yeah,
yes, Mr. Vino,
please.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. So one of the things that I did was I brought up on the website and so forth, and I apologize, it's so small, I would make it larger, but I'll read it to you. And you had asked, is this organization in good standing? And so this is information that I found on the California Secretary of State website, and it shows that the initial filing date of Molding Hearts was on December 8th of 2008. The status, according to the Secretary of State, is active. The standing for the Secretary of State is good. The standing for the Franchise Tax Board is good. The standing for the agent service of process, that is also good. The standing for the VCFCF fund, so what is that? I had to look that up. So that's the Victim of Corporate Fraud Compensation Fund. Ms. Lakita's organization has good standing in that. And so to answer your question, that is what is available on the website.
Thank you. In fact, the only reason I asked that I'm in question, is that I've seen in the past our city has given 501Cs money, and they were not of good standing or good credibility that I heard. I've not verified, but I've went to meetings and they're being thrashed. So I want to make sure that anybody collecting money from our city or grants, especially 501Cs, they're of good standing with the state and federal. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Vito. And then, Mr. Max, I had one thing that I thought would be important to contribute to the conversation, and that is that November 12th is going to be effectively the last council meeting that we can bring business items before the city council. And this proposal ultimately needs to be re-reviewed by the city council, and ultimately they will either agree, or they will approve it, disapprove it, or they'll continue it. If it's continued, then the soonest that this could be reconsidered is January 14th. And, I personally have the concern, seeing how cold it has gotten, if this is something that the city council is generally supportive of, and based on the one-on-one interactions the city council has had with Molding Hearts, I would hate to see an opportunity to provide services to the unhoused wait until we've gone through some of our coldest months.
Yes.
But that's my personal feeling on it. But that is a reality of our situation.
Thank you.
Consensus from us?
I think we've all sat up here in a lot of these meetings and had a lot of these discussions, and we all feel kind of a little bit, we have our hands tied because there's not a lot we can do that we want to. We want to actively help. We want to actively do things. But we've had a hard time hitting those things to getting those things done, right? With the shower trailer, the navigation center, that kind of stuff. So we all feel kind of defeated.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten what the goal of this was accomplished at the start. And I know all of us care deeply for this. Everybody in this room cares deeply. They wouldn't be here if they didn't, right? Nobody would be here if they didn't care for this issue. So I think there are some concerns, not concerns is a bad word. There's some
Need for better detail?
There's some more detail, some just touching up of this document. But as far as I feel, I think we should get a consensus and do our best to move this through the process and not slow it down any further, because if we do miss that next city council meeting with this for discussion, at least nothing will happen until after the holidays, and I don't think any of us want that at all. So,
Chairman, if I can just add what you just said. In fact, I know we have, concerns that we had 3 people come in the past, but I think this candidate has got a track record of what, 20 years, 15, 20 years?
20
years. So there is a difference compared to the other people that just had an idea and came up, and then they realized that I'll have to do a lot of work for that idea, and they backed out. So this is a different candidate compared to the 3 that we went through the whole process, spent the time, went to city council, got the thing approved, and they backed out. So we have to compare apples to apples. Thanks.
So I think is what I'd like to propose next is we just take a kind of raise your hand vote if you'd like to move this forward to city council, and then we go from there.
With some recommended revisions.
With some recommended revisions of the writing to kind of explain a little better and kind of touch this up some and make it so city council can actively review it and it'll favorably pass with city council. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Are there any opposed? Would
Two
it
opposed.
be possible to do by name? Or is that it's not?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a
Okay.
consensus.
Very good. So so then so could we raise the hands again? Who is interested? Okay. Okay. So 3 of 5. Okay. Very good.
and city council ultimately has the decision. This was
Yeah.
just a quorum that we all met and decided, and after hearing the presentation, so it's not final.
Okay, very good.
So
Thank
I
you.
think the committee is a 3-2 quorum to move this along to city council with some revisions.
Very good. Thank you so much for all of your time, and thank you for the audience. Thank you for coming, sharing your stories.
Before we all get up and walk away, I really want to express my heartfelt thank you to all of you, and I think everybody up here will say the same thing. We greatly appreciate your time, your comments, and your looking into this with us. It's something the city needs. We need help, and we appreciate all of your time and your effort coming out to this meeting tonight. So I want to thank you. So at that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
Thanks.
Now you can applaud if you want to.